notorious Islamist hate preacher Anjem Choudary is expected to be released from prison later today. The preacher was jailed in 2016 after being convicted of inviting support for so-called Islamic State. This all comes after it was revealed that he'll be banned from leaving London to stop him radicalising others in the UK after his release. Anjem Choudary was once a leading figure in the now banned group Al-Mujahideen. Haras Rafiq is the chief executive of Quilliam, which is an international think tank focusing on counter-extremism, specifically against Islamism, and he joins me on the programme this morning. Good morning to you, Haras. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning to you and all the listeners as well.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, Anjem Choudary, what kind of a man is he? How closely have you been following his personality and his character traits?
Well, we've been following him at great length, actually, and I've come across him since 2004, 2005 onwards, and debated him many times on the BBC. He's a dangerous individual. He's somebody who we know has been directly linked to over 15 terrorist plots in the UK. Nearly a third of the people that have gone out to join Islamic State from the UK have had some sort of links with him or his organisation. He's a dangerous individual that was regarded by many in the early days, in the early 2000s, as being a bit of a pantomime villain, as being a bit of a clown. But actually what he was the Pied Piper, as we coined it a few years ago, the Pied Piper of Islamist terrorism. Not only in the UK, but around the West and around the world as well. So he's a dangerous individual.
We hear he's British through and through. He was born in Welling. He lived in Ilford. How did he become radicalised?
Well, he was somebody who used to go to university with our Director of Policy, David Tope. He was somebody who was normal, somebody who was integrated, somebody who was enjoying his university days and enjoying everything that Britain had to offer. He came across somebody called Omar Bakri. And Omar Bakri in those days was the head of an Islamist organisation called Hizb ut-Tahrir. Omar is a very charismatic individual, somebody who seemed to create this new identity for a whole host of Muslims across London. And unfortunately, Anjem was somebody who came under his spell and joined him and eventually rose through the ranks. And as Omar Bakri is incarcerated in a prison in Lebanon, Anjem really has become the leader of this now prescribed group Al-Mujahideen, certainly across the Western Europe and in some parts of North America as well.
With every word you say, I think more and more people listening to this programme this morning will be wondering how this man can be released from prison. They will be thinking, as you say, he's the Pied Piper. We know what the Pied Piper did. He led vulnerable and susceptible children into what seemed like certain death. He was persuasive and attractive and vibrant and charismatic, and wreaked utter havoc and destroyed every family in the village of Hamlin. We know all that. Anjem Choudary is going to be released from prison today. It's not something we're talking about might happen. It's going to happen. I think some people will just not understand the thought process behind allowing that.
Listen, you posed the question at the beginning of your programme just now, and you were asking Londoners, do we feel safer with Anjem being released from prison? I don't feel safe or safer, or I feel less safe with Anjem being released today. But the rule, we have a rule of law. The law is the law. He was actually given a sentence which meant that he could be and now is being released halfway through it under license, and that's the law that applies across all these types of sentences. And what we have to do is make sure that we learn the lesson. Well, first of all, he's monitored very closely, that he sticks to his license. To the license, the conditions that have been imposed on him, but we need to make sure that we actually learn from some of the things that we, and I say we collectively, allowed him to manipulate the media, allowed him to manipulate the debate, allowed him to appear on the BBC and lots of other places, thinking that here is somebody who gives a particular voice. And that actually helped with the radicalisation of many individuals throughout the UK and across Europe as well. So we need to make sure that we don't allow him the platform that he had before, because I don't believe he's been de-radicalised. I don't believe that.
Well, that's my next question. I said, do we have any reason at all to imagine that he's changed his mind on any of this, or indeed that his mind has been changed for him? Because if he comes out with the same conviction, the same violent attitude towards the West and everything else, then how can he do anything but cause trouble? I mean, they can supervise him 24 hours a day. They can't stop him saying what he wants to say to the people he wants to say it to. They can't stop him communicating, can they?
Mm-hmm. Well, at this moment in time, under the conditions of the licence, they can restrict his communication. He won't be able to interact with individuals without authorization. He won't have access to the web, etc. But those conditions will run out after a period of time, and he will try to manipulate all of the tools available to him. He will try, and he's a sharp individual. He's not, people sometimes think, oh, this is a guy who looks like a clown, who says all of these vile things, but he knows what he's doing, and we have to challenge those views robustly. We have to make sure that we, as I said, don't give him the platform.
And does he have a home, a wife, a family, a comfortable sofa, a comfortable bed to go back to?
Well, at this moment in time, what we've been told is that he's going to go to a halfway house. He's not going to go back to his wife or his children. He has all of those. And probably one of the reasons why he's being housed in London, where, by the way, there are over 1 million Muslims, and according to the last census, there are 2.7 million Muslims in the UK, and more than 1 million of them are in the Greater London area. And probably one of the reasons why he's being housed in London is because of his children and his wife, and the fact that they live in London, so they'll be able to see him, etc. I guess that's the law. That's from a human rights
just
perspective.
a yes or no answer. Do you think he should be let out of prison today?
Very, very good question. Yes, according to the law, but no, because he is a very dangerous individual.
Thank you very much for talking to us. That's Haras Rafiq there, Chief Executive of Quilliam. Your thoughts on that, the release of Anjem